Both Starfield and The Outer Worlds 2 occupy the same broad category of space RPGs, but they approach the concept from strikingly different directions. Each reflect the creative philosophies of the developer, Bethesda Game Studios and Obsidian Entertainment, and together they illustrate two contrasting ways to imagine humanity's future among the stars. While Starfield strives for realism, scale, and immersion in the believable galaxy, The Outer Worlds 2 leans into satire, style, and social commentary. Both explore space, but they do so with entirely different goals and emotional tones. Starfield represents Bethesda's most ambitious attempt at simulating a living, breathing galaxy. It's a game built around the player's freedom to explore thousands of planets, modular ships, sprawling cities, and deep factional storylines. The game treats space as a frontier, vast, lonely, and governed by the laws of physics and human ambition. Its tone evokes the grandeur of NASA-inspired science fiction, with a sense of awe for discovery and the unknown. Every design decision, procedural planets, ship, customization, planetary outposts, serves to reinforce the fantasy of being a true space explorer. By contrast, The Outer Worlds 2 condenses its universe into a handful of tightly designed worlds, each brimming with handcrafted detail and biting humor. Exploration in Obsidian's universe isn't about charting the infinite, but uncovering how corporate greed, propaganda, and human folly have shaped and colonized the solar system. Its planets aren't barren wastelands or mysterious scientific frontiers. They're stages for satire. In The Outer Worlds 2, the journey isn't about how far you can go, but how deeply you can dig into the absurd social structures that define the colonies. Where Starfield is serious and vast, Outer Worlds is sharp and compact. Narratively, Starfield embraces earnest storytelling. It takes this science fiction seriously, often invoking philosophical questions about purpose, knowledge, and transcendence. The game's tone is grounded and reflective, using its Constellation faction as a vehicle for human curiosity and moral ambiguity. The dialogue is restrained, characters are believable, and the game's narrative pacing mirrors a long, slow-burn exploration of self and the universe. It's Bethesda at its most mature, aiming to capture the feeling of the 2001 A Space Odyssey or Interstellar. Meanwhile, The Outer Worlds 2 continues Obsidian's legacy of satire and player-driven choices. Its world is drenched in irony and a hyper-capitalistic dystopia where corporations own everything, even people's lives. Every quest, conversation, and decision is an opportunity to challenge hypocrisy or revel in it. Humor drives the tone, but beneath that humor lies a deeply cynical view of colonization, exploitation, and the illusion of progress. The game often mocks the very tropes of science fiction that Starfield celebrates. Where Bethesda invites you to believe in humanity's better nature, Obsidian dares you to laugh at its worst instincts. The two games also differ in how they treat the player's role. In Starfield, you're an explorer, a scientist, or a soldier, or maybe a pirate. In other words, you're a self-made individual carving out a life in an enormous galaxy. The gameplay loop is built on freedom and self-expression. Build ships, survey planets, smuggle goods, or join a noble cause. The game rarely judges your choices. Bethesda's hallmark is systematic gameplay, interlocking systems that let the player create stories through mechanics rather than dialogue alone. The Outer Worlds 2, however, is rooted in Obsidian's narrative-driven design. The player's agency is expressed through dialogue and moral choices rather than expansive systems. Every verbal interaction in The Outer Worlds 2 has meaning, and the consequences of speech or action ripple through the game's storyline in very visible ways. While it's less mechanically deep than Starfield, it's far more reactive and definitely far more witty. I guess the perfect description is The Outer Worlds 2 feels closer to a stage play set in space, while Starfield feels more like a space simulator. Even visually, the two games express their philosophies in different ways. Starfield opts for grounded realism, muted colors, functional ship designs, and environments that look like plausible extensions of modern technology. It's a game that takes inspiration from aerospace engineering and scientific plausibility. The result is a universe that feels inhabitable, but not glamorous. In contrast, The Outer Worlds 2 bursts with color, personality, and exaggeration. Its art direction embraces pulp sci-fi aesthetics, neon signs, absurdly cheerful advertisements, and planets that look like corporate theme parks. Every environment is stylized to emphasize its social critique. The world may be smaller, but it's bursting with identity and intentional absurdity. Ultimately, Starfield and The Outer Worlds 2 reveal the dual nature of the space RPG genre. One treats space as a serious frontier for exploration and personal growth. The other uses it as a mirror to reflect humanity's flaws through zany humor and exaggeration.
Blowtorch.
Hand crank.
Electric saw.
Oh, and there was that attempt with the automech. Wonder if they ever got it walking again.
Species start by certain ways of thinking, which I hardly share. I care about my staff so much. Speaking of the team, such as they are in their present deranged state, how did you make it past them? You know, without being killed. Aha, thought so. Sometimes with screaming, it can be difficult to discern intent, like, "Ah, I'm being killed," can be so close to, "Ah, I'm running amok." Shame. The staff and I all had such good chemistry together.
To put it simply, Bethesda asks, what if we really made it to the stars? Obsidian asks, what kind of mess would we make if we ever got there? Starfield satisfies those who crave immersion, vastness, and introspection. The Outer Worlds 2 appeals to players who value sharp writing, wit, and critique. Together they show space games are not defined by rockets or planets, but by the stories we tell once we leave Earth behind. To be honest with you, trying to compare these two games is just kind of weird to me. It's kind of like trying to compare an orange with a grapefruit just because they have a lot of similarities, but obviously they're completely different. As someone who spent a ton of time playing Starfield and a pretty significant amount of time playing The Outer Worlds 2, I mean, I'm all over the place. I'm an explorer. I'm checking out every crack and crevices. I mean, yeah, I haven't finished the game, but I guarantee you that I've probably discovered more about this game than some people who have finished it. But anyway, guys, tell me what you think down in the comment section. Let me know, are you playing the game? And if you're playing it, what do you think? Do you plan on playing it? Are you waiting for a sale? Like I said earlier, this game is definitely worth the full price because of so many different ways that you can play the game. Again, I'm not an advocate for $70 games, but if that's your thing, if you're into paying $70 for games, this is definitely a game that's worth $70 if you're willing to pay $70. So, again, down in the comment section, tell me what you think. And until next time, guys, stay safe.
Trouble ahead. Commander, you're waiting. Engaging combat protocols. Requires service. Negative.
The idea is to kill them before you die. Ready to west. On your command. Don't make me bury another agent! Not getting up without help, Commander! Do you have my back?